Hey guys, Justin with AmericanMuscle.com here with my quick overview of the Airaid Modular Intake Tube kit available for your 2011 through 2014 EcoBoost powered F-150. In this short video, I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of running this intake tube here from Airaid, what you're going to be looking at as far as overall basic construction, and then finally what it takes to get this thing in place. Now honestly guys, the install is going to be very simple, very straightforward here. As you can see, you're really only dealing with a few clamps, so we'll call it 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter with a little bit more detail coming up later on. This is a relatively small mod from Airaid, guys, I'll give you that, but it should appeal to the EcoBoost owners out there who would like to eliminate the most restrictive part of the factory intake system without spending a whole bunch of money on a complete system, and it's going to give you a small amount of power, a little bit of improvement under the hood as well as far as appearance. Now this is a modular system, guys, meaning you can pair it up with whatever you'd like. You can use it with the factory airbox if you'd like, or you can even throw this thing in with a different aftermarket airbox of your choosing, as long as it follows the same basic factory configuration or layout, essentially allowing you to create your own cold air in the process. But let's go back to the main purpose or function of this part from Airaid, and that is to eliminate the most restrictive part of your factory intake system, basically the inlet tube that resides between the airbox itself and the turbos on your 3.5 EcoBoost. Now this factory portion of piping actually contains a few speed bumps. You have the accordion-shaped portion of the tube itself, and then there's actually some interior sound baffles going on as well, reducing some of the turbo noise in factory form. Now both of these things are actually working against you as far as adding a restriction to your airflow and actually creating some turbulence as well, which doesn't do any favors in regards to maximizing your performance or efficiency. The Airaid portion here, on the other hand, as you can see guys, is completely smooth throughout thanks to the protomolded plastic construction, and that will again allow for better efficiency, maybe even a little bit more performance over the factory tube it is replacing. Now again, because you are removing some of those baffles that are present in the factory portion of the tube, you might get a little bit more turbo noise when this thing is installed, especially more so if you have an open element exposed air filter under the hood. But ultimately guys, I think it sounds really cool and it's going to be very minor at best. But let's talk power expectations when using something like this, and obviously that's always the goal when you're addressing parts in the intake system from a performance standpoint, but obviously this is a smaller mod, right guys? Don't expect this thing to set the world on fire as far as overall gains. Sure, you're helping your efficiency, you're helping the airflow overall. You might see a small bump in power and torque, definitely maybe even a little throttle response as well. But again, don't look for the big double-digit horsepower gains when just swapping out the portion of the piping here alone. That being said, guys, pair this up with an aftermarket airbox of your choice with a better high flow filter, and those numbers will certainly go up from there. And you got to keep in mind, guys, this thing is super affordable at the end of the day, especially in the land of more complete intake systems. You're actually looking at right around the mid-$100 price point for this thing, which is very reasonable, and it's ultimately going to allow you to spend some other money on more power mods, such as a tune, for instance, which is really what's going to unlock big power on your EcoBoost powered F-150. If you guys don't believe me, cruise on over to some of the tune pages here on the site. We break down some dyno numbers using different tunes. It'll really open your eyes as to what a tune is possible with on these EcoBoost F-150s. Switching gears, let's quickly talk about install, and as you'd imagine guys, this thing is certainly not going to test your knowledge here. You're really only looking at a few clamps, as you can see. So removing the factory portion of the intake tube, installing the new Airaid really only requires use of an 8mm socket or a flathead screwdriver. Whatever you have on hand will definitely do the job. So for that, we'll call it a soft 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, maybe 30 minutes of your time in the garage or driveway before you're all wrapped up. Alright guys, I like the modular kit here from Airaid because it does address one of the big problem areas with the factory intake system. It's going to look pretty good while doing so under the hood, and it's not going to set your wallet back too much in the process. I do like the fact that this thing is also going to give you some options as well, whether you want to use it with your factory airbox or maybe go with a different aftermarket airbox of your choosing. So that's my review of the Airaid Modular Intake Tube Kit, which you can find for your EcoBoost right here at AmericanMuscle.com.